The Toyota Sequoia Capstone is expensive, like really expensive. So is it worth the money? Let's take a closer look and try to figure that out. So as always, we're gonna start this review here underneath the hood. What we have here is a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 hybrid. This is the iForce Max powertrain. Puts out a combined 437 horsepower, 583 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 takes 5.6 seconds. This can tow up to 8,980 pounds. On gas alone, this has a range of 427 miles. Factor in the hybrid component and it goes up to 495. Fuel economy ratings are combined 20 miles per gallon, that's 19 in the city, 22 on the highway, and the capacity of the fuel tank is 22.5 gallons. So for those of you that don't know, the Toyota Sequoia is the exact same vehicle as the Toyota Tundra pickup. It's a 3-row, full-size SUV, it's body on frame, and if you've ever seen the Tundra, you'll notice right away this looks identical. In fact, last year I had a Tundra as a press car. It was this exact same color, it was the same capstone trim level, same chrome mirrors, the exact same wheels. Basically from this back door forward, it's the exact same as the Tundra, except with the Tundra, instead of a third row, you get a bed. Same powertrain, engine, transmission. The interior is identical, minus the third row. So yeah, it's a Tundra SUV. So now let's start off here with the front end. The thing that sticks out the most is this massive silver grille. Now it's not like regular shiny chrome. It has some shine to it, but it's not like totally mirror finish. But I think what they did here is tasteful and it's appropriate for a top trim level. Other trim levels will have a slightly different grille. The Toyota badge, however, is that super shiny reflective chrome. And as you can see, there are no areas of it that are blocked off. It is fully functional. And if you look closer inside, you can see there's little shutters that do open and close based on, whenever that heat dissipation is needed. There's another small opening on the bottom. You can see the parking sensors there in the front. We have painted silver at the very bottom. And then we have this plastic guard piece at the bottom that I do believe is removable. And we do have aerodynamic air vents. We have a big one down at the bottom. And I do believe this is one of the few things where this does differ from the Tundra. I don't think the Tundra has this opening. Now let's check out the headlights. And I think the headlights actually look really cool. And I think they look especially cool from the side because number one, we have this amber marker light that's inside the reflector. It's like a very thin line, looks very streamlined and sharp. And then if we look inside the main housing, we have these accent pieces between the different lighting elements that look like real metal. And then they have this really cool like Allen key bolt detail in it. I just think it looks really cool. And then we have these massive daytime running lights. The headlights are on, so I think it's a little bit duller right now. So now with the main housing turned off, I think it looks a little bit brighter now, but it's very big and very hard to miss. And as far as the main headlights, you can see we have 4 different lighting elements. They are projector LED. The low beam has 3 of them turned on, and then that 4th one comes on the high beam. These are auto leveling headlights, so they can point further up or down. And then you can see here on this side, integrated into the daytime running light is the turn signal, which is an amber color and it's sequential. You can see the blinking pattern, how it gradually comes around and goes off. And overall, I just really like all the sharp angles of the hood. This thing looks really muscular. I like the way the headlight sticks out, how it has all these sharp edges on it. And then down at the very bottom, we do have LED fog lights on both sides. This color is called Blueprint, and it's the same color as the Tundra that I had last year as a press car, but in person, it really looks more like a dark purple than a navy blue. It's not exactly my favorite color, but it's not offensive. So now let's check out the side. So you're gonna notice that big iForce Max badge right there on the hood. And since this is hybrid, you can see it's outlined in blue. When you see badging on a Toyota that's outlined in blue, that's how you know it's a hybrid. Up front, you can see color matched on the wheel arches. So we don't have any flat black cladding. It is color matched. From the side profile, the main way you can differentiate the capstone from the other trim levels is all the chrome. So first, here on the mirror cap, fully chrome, shiny chrome. Hello. But then we have painted black on the bottom instead of flat black, so that does look more high-end. We have LED turn signal indicators, and these are power folding. We get more chrome trim along the bottom of the window trim, and it kind of curves upwards. In the back, we also get shiny chrome on the door handles, and we get that capstone badge on the bottom of the front door. In a vehicle like this, mud flaps are kind of important, so we do have those. And also in the capstone, you'll get the power running boards. Those are very convenient to have. This is a very tall vehicle after all, so it is nice and easy to get in and out with those. Close the door, and then it goes in. And there is a button on the interior if you want to have them stay out or completely stay in, or the automatic mode like I have it set to, where it'll go down if the door opens and go back once the door closes. We also have some nice brushed silver roof rails up top. And now back in the rear, you can see the thing that sticks out the most is we have Sequoia in giant letters just spelled all the way across. We have these giant tail lights, and again, we have these sequential turn signals just like the ones up front, although in the back, they're red instead of amber. Very big and bright on the tail light, and it's got one of my favorite features that Toyota does on a lot of their body on frame vehicles, and that is the glass opening in the back. Nice and convenient if you need to just quickly throw something in the back and keep it pushing, because this is a really big tailgate and it takes a little while to open up, but that is nice and convenient. Down at the bottom, we have another painted silver accent. We have a little bit of black on top of that, 2 reflectors and 4 parking sensors. Now let's head back into the cargo area. Now the cargo area is a bit of a sore spot, and you'll see why. So I stick my foot under, step back, and it goes up. Now you can't take too long when you do it, otherwise it won't open, so you got to do a quick kick underneath and step back out of the way. Okay, so here's the sore spot. Here's the back of the 3rd row, right? There's barely any space back here. We get this little included shelf that's removable that you can stick further up. There's 3 different levels you can put it at, so you can put some stuff on top, some stuff on the bottom to try to maximize the space, because the space behind here is mostly vertical. So you need to be able to stack things in order to really get any good use out of it. You can see we have this optional first aid kit here. We have an optional cargo net too. But one thing I am glad to report is that we do have power folding 3rd row. So with one push of a button, that 3rd row is going to go all the way down. Now it does take a little while. Actually, I've seen worse. Not so bad. And these handles on the bottoms are actually pretty convenient, because then you can move the seat forward and back like that. I don't think I've seen that before, but that's a good thing to have. We get one light off to the right side. We also get a full-size 120 volt home power outlet with a 3rd prong. I don't think there's any way to access underneath the floor, but we do have a full-size spare tire underneath the car. And another thing, unfortunately, is that this 3rd row does not fold all the way flat. You can see it sticks up, but if you move that shelf onto the 2nd height, then it's pretty much level. So if you need to put stuff in the back, it's probably better to do it this way. That way things sit level, and then I guess if you have smaller items, you can stick them underneath here. Because once you close this tailgate, it'll come to right here. So then this is pretty flat. So behind the 3rd row, there's 22.3 cubic feet of storage. Once you fold down the 3rd row seats, like the way you see it now, it's 49 cubic feet of storage. The 2nd row seats do need to be folded manually, and once you fold them down, the total amount of storage is 86.9 cubic feet of storage. Then you stick your foot underneath again, get out of the way, and then it yells at you a bunch of times and then closes the tailgate. So now we are inside the 2026 Sequoia Capstone, and now I really want to get down to the bottom of, is this interior worth the steep price tag? And I really do mean steep. So for luxury car money, we should be expecting some luxury car features. So for one, we have the power tilting and telescoping wheel. For this money, it should have that. The leather on the steering wheel, it is very nice. It's perforated out here on the edges, even on the inside too. It is heated. As you can see right now, we're in a winter wonderland. And yeah, so the heated wheel is very nice. I have it turned on, nice and warm. We have some tan colored contrast stitching on the inside. We have that along the top too. There is nice simulated stitching on the horn button, but overall the wheel, I think it does look a little bit dated. I think they should really update this wheel design. The controls are laid out nice and easy to use. We have a back button, a phone button, volume, voice command, and then these buttons are for the gauge display. And then on the right side is everything for adaptive cruise, lane tracing assist, following distance, setting your speed. And then this is fast forward, rewind for audio and mode. We also get a digital rear view mirror, and that is included on the Capstone. You don't have to pay extra for that. Same thing with the panoramic moonroof. It does open, and there is a electronically controlled shade that opens and closes. We have leatherette on the very top of the dashboard. It is very soft, and we have more of that tan colored contrast stitching. And then we have really soft leatherette on this lower part of the dashboard. And you can see we have some accents on here that are like a dark red burgundy kind of color. And then on the Capstone, we get this genuine walnut wood trim. And you can see there's a Capstone logo in the middle of it, and that illuminates nice and bright at night. We have more of the wood down on the center console, and it is nice and matte finish. It's not shiny. I really don't like shiny finish on wood trim. I also like a darker color, so I do really like this wood trim. And that leatherette from over there continues all the way underneath the screen, all the way over here, and continues to the other side of the wheel. And I'm not really sure why this is advertised, but they do advertise that there's semi-aniline leather here on this grab handle on all four of them. The rest of the handle is just plastic, and there's a little bit of leather just wrapped around it. Taking a look at the door panel, the same leatherette as the top of the dash up here with the same tan colored contrast stitching. This portion here in the middle, it's still leatherette, but not very much padding behind it. Nice soft armrest, more of the stitching. We have a little bit more of that wood grain here on the side. We have some storage in this middle part, some here, and then down at the bottom, space for 2 bottles. And that is the speaker grill for the 14 speaker JBL. We'll listen to that in a little bit. Now let's talk about these seats, because I do really like them. They are extremely comfortable. You can see we have power extendable thigh supports, fully perforated seating surface, more of that burgundy colored accent, and you can see the stitching. We have the tan colored, but then we also have some blue stitching on there too. Very soft headrest, fully power adjustable with lumbar. And I will say this seat, it kind of reminds me of like an old man's recliner. It's extremely comfortable in that kind of way. Kind of reminds me more of almost like classic American type luxury, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's an incredibly comfortable seat. And the best part is that they massage. So if we go over here to the vehicle, seat controls, massage, pick the seat. I like to put mine on lumbar. That hits the lower back. Intensity, power, all the way up. It's the same thing on Lexus, but I do wish Toyota would make the massaging seats a little bit easier to use. You do have to go through a lot of menu screens. But once it's on, I think it lasts somewhere around 15 or 20 minutes, and then it'll cut off, and then you have to put it back on yourself. So only the 2 front seats have the massage function, and both front seats are also heated and ventilated. And we have 2 memory settings for the driver. So this 14-inch infotainment touchscreen, absolutely massive. Personally, I think I might find it just a little bit too big. I think it's a little bit distracting while driving, because it's just like boom right there in your face. But it is a great display, I'll give it that. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto have worked seamlessly, no issues. This also still has Sirius XM and comes with a 3-month trial. It comes with a 1-year trial of Remote Connect and Drive Connect. And this also has an available Wi-Fi hotspot, and this does have remote start on the key fob by pressing the lock button 3 times and holding down on the 3rd time. But if you get the Connect app, then you can also start the car from your phone. Now, one thing I am surprised this does not have is the advanced parking assist. Basically the function where the vehicle will park the car for you, whether it's parallel or perpendicular, but this doesn't have it, and it's a top trim level with a price tag comparable to some fully loaded Lexus models. But in terms of the camera system we do get, we hit the button there. This is very typical for Toyota and Lexus currently. Then you have this 360 mode. If I put it in drive, now you get all these other camera angles. So this is the backup camera here. We have the side angles. So like if you're off-roading, you can keep an eye on the terrain to the side of you to make sure you don't hit anything. So there's both sides side by side. That's backup, forward facing. You can also have that be full screen. You can turn off the 360 or turn it back on. I find the 360 to be very useful. We also have a system here that helps guide lining up a tow hitch. As I mentioned before, we have a 14 speaker JBL audio system. Let's take a listen. very lackluster, I have to say. It's not very powerful. The interior rattles quite a bit. Doesn't do well at high volume. Not the best clarity either. One thing I am glad to see though down here is physical AC controls. None of them are in the screen. They're all laid out nice and easy right here. We have tri-zone climate, 2 in the front and then the rear AC. As far as connections, we have a wireless charger up front. Had no issues with it. It's worked well. Let's see, nothing in there, just 2 cup holders. Inside the center console, we have a USB-A and a USB-C there. And then up here in the front, another USB-A. Nice big center console, lots of storage. Then we have this small little part here at the top, and inside the glove box, it's pretty small, I do have to say. You see there's a bunch of documentation in there, and that takes up the majority of the space. Also, not my favorite is this really clunky old school transmission selector. I mean, it works, but it kind of makes the interior look a bit dated. Here we have the controls for the transfer case for the 4-wheel drive system. We have 2-wheel drive mode, 4-wheel drive mode, and then low gear. And then here we have our drive mode selector. Drive modes are very straightforward, just sport, normal, and eco. So now I'm in the back seat right behind where I'd have the driver's seat adjusted for myself at 6 feet tall. These seats are fixed in place. They do not slide forward or back. These are captain's chairs, so we do get an armrest on both of them. We do get a pocket behind both seat backs, which I like to see. We get 2 cup holders on the back of the center console. We also get 2 more down below on this console between the seats. Down in the middle, we have a control center for the rear AC. We can adjust fan speed, the zone, and we have heated and ventilated here on the captain's chairs. Can adjust the temperature too, and we have air vents on the sides. And then down at the bottom, a USB-A, a USB-C, and another 120 volt outlet with the 3rd prong. And in addition to these air vents, we also have them in the headliner up top. Everything on the door panel is identical to the door panel up front. And we have these included manual sunshades in the 2nd row. Decent amount of headroom even with the panoramic roof. And now to head back into the 3rd row. Seat just goes forward and up in one motion. So now I'm in the 3rd row, and remember, these seats don't slide forward and back, so this is where it's stuck at. And at 6 feet tall, while my knees do come up a little high, I do have about 3 inches of legroom to spare. So passenger room in the Sequoia is fantastic. We also get manual sunshades here in the 3rd row, and we have power recline here in the 3rd row. So let's see how much range of motion we get. So that's all the way forward. That's all the way back, so that's a pretty good range of motion. But we get 2 cup holders in the back, a USB-C that's on both sides, and we get more air vents. So lots of good AC here in the Sequoia, and overall passenger volume I think is very good too. The MSRP of this 2026 Toyota Sequoia Capstone is $86,530. That is a really steep price tag considering that you can get a fully loaded Lexus for the same money. Maybe not the Lexus LX like this one is most similarly sized to, but the new TX that I had a few weeks ago fully loaded was this same price. Overall, I think it's a great vehicle. It has a few shortcomings, but I do think there are better ways to spend 86 grand. But if you love it that much, go for it. I think it'll serve you very well. A big thank you to Toyota for sending the Sequoia for me to keep for an entire week so that I can give you guys the most thorough review possible. So please let me know your thoughts on the Sequoia Capstone down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please share with a friend and subscribe. It'll really help the channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos, and be sure to follow at Optical Automotive on TikTok and Instagram, and check out the page on Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.